video is about how to write a lowercase g using the verbiage from Fundations. After that, we'll talk about how to properly pronounce the sound associated with the G. And then finally, we will kind of troubleshoot if your child or student struggles writing the G properly, what you can possibly do. How Fundations teaches it goes like this. G is a plain line round letter. It starts on the plain line. Go to the plain line, trace back on the plain line, down and around, all the way back up to the plain line. Trace back down all the way to the worm line and make a curve. G, game, g. Okay, how you make the sound with that is very small movements of your tongue. And I will shine a flashlight in my mouth and let my students watch my mouth, my tongue, what it's doing when I'm making the g sound. Because we don't want to say g. G is actually two sounds. It's g and And so I'll have a flashlight and show them when I'm making my g, g, g. Is my tongue moving a lot or is it just moving a little? And they'll notice it's just moving a little. And then I'll do the opposite so they can see the difference. What about if I go g? Ooh, I drop my tongue all the way when I do it. Is that moving a lot or is that moving a little? And they would say moving a lot. And I'll talk about when we're making this sound, we want to move it just a little bit. So g, g, not g. Alright, so difficulty I've found my kids making with the G. By the way, they've learned the A at this point. And if they have, if your child has, if you notice, what you can do with that is you can say, okay, what letter is that? And they would say A. Like, okay, if I can make an A, then I can make a G. Again, if I can make an A, what does that look like? An A. Then I can make a G. So that's some way that you can kind of help them associate it with something if they already know how to write the A well. And then you can pull from that. The other difficulty I see students having trouble with is knowing which way the curve goes. So maybe they'll do something like that. And when they get down here, they might choose to make it go that way, which we all know is a Q, but they don't at first. So what I will do with that, I was like, you know what, G is for games, and I play a lot of games outside. Don't you play games outside at recess? Yeah, I do too. So when I'm making the curve for my G, and I come down here, I want to play games outside. So I'm going to curve towards my window, and so I can go out that window and play games. And in my classroom, there's a window on the left side of my room where my students sit. It's on their left. I also have my alphabet strip up there, and I use those to help with directionality on a lot of letters. So if you don't have a window on that side and you want to use that reference, you can just draw a window up here. If you want to have it up for a lot of the letters, then you can just make a window on a piece of paper and tape it up on the left side of the child. Because again, it's used for a lot of letters to help with that directionality. And the other thing you might see kids do, which hopefully by now they've worked on the C, they've hopefully worked on the A, and some other round letters. But one other thing I see kids want to do is come down here, straight down for the G, and then they have to go back, and then they usually pick up their marker, and they do, they're not forming it correctly that way. And so if I notice a student doing that, I just point that out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to look at how you started your G. And when you started your G, you just went like straight down. I'm going to show you how I start my G. So first, I have to go up to that line. I'm going to go scratch, 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 scratch my back before I can drop down. So up, scratch, scratch, scratch my back before I drop down. Let's look at mine compared to yours. On yours, you just went straight down. Did you scratch your back? No, you really didn't, did you? So we got to make sure when we're making a C or an A or a G or a D, lots of letters, or a Q, that we go up and scratch our back first before we can drop down.